Yo, what is up, YouTube? It's your boy YBP Gang, YBP Nation, YBP Boxing, YBP MMA. But today is YBP Boxing. And today I'm going to be breaking down Tank's best performances in commemoration for his fight week, obviously going up against, I believe, Frank Martin. Tough opponent at 135-pound division. You know, a guy who brings a lot of stuff. But in my opinion, I think it's kind of basic. I'll try to drop a video, give my prediction on that and how I think the fight's going to play out. But for now, we're talking about his past fights, as I would be interested to drop it at this time because I feel like this fight, after this one, at least the Frank Martin fight, I feel like we're going to find out a lot about Tank. I feel like with Tank, we've heard that, you know, he's kind of been a little more emotional, a little more like revealing. With gloves are off, he's talking about how he's a little more nervous for the Ryan Garcia fight. You know, he's talked about not wanting to fight, you know, for a prolonged period of time, just wanting to get out of the game early, you know, not fight till 35, 40, you know. So I think this fight, after this, will really get a sense of what does he want to accomplish, what does he want to do. I think this is the perfect time to do a performance video. I was hoping to do a longer one. Like I was watching videos of, what fight was I watching? Fonseca and then Pedraza. I was going to do a video like that long with like Hugo Ruiz and like all those other fights, but we didn't really get down to that. I decided to just cut it to his last 7 performances, I think it is. So we have Davis Garcia. We have Davis Garcia, Davis Romero, Davis Santa Cruz, Davis Barrios, Davis Hector Luis Garcia, Davis Gamboa, and Davis, I think I said this, or Davis Cruz, yeah. So we're just going to go down the line. And this is purely based off performance. It's not based off of, like, we're not factoring in the opponent. Because if we factor in that, I think, not to spoil it, but I think, you know, Santa Cruz, that's probably his best win to this day. I think, you know, Santa Cruz is, you know, a very good champion at the time. Close odds. Of these few, because I think Pedraza is his best of all time, like of his career. Because, you know, going into that fight, he was an underdog. That was his kind of coming out party, going up against Pedraza. But Santa Cruz, of these selection, like, it's a really good win. You know, he went band for band with him, man. Like, he really, you know, he matched him in his own game. And, you know, came out victorious with that uppercut. One of the most viral knockouts that we have of this generation. So, very good win. But that is not in my S tier. It's probably the list. Y'all going to have to tune in. But first, we're going to start with Davis Cruz. Let me not, because I think I actually have this. Never mind. Let me not. I'm kind of spoiling the video. Okay, we'll start with, we'll just start Davis Cruz. Davis Cruz, I have that at C tier, I believe. Just because Davis Cruz, that's the only fight on here. And a lot of people are going to, I'm not including context really with the video. I'm just including purely, you know, what did my two eyes see with that performance? You know, no context with it. Because obviously some people would say, oh, he beat Cruz, this great fighter that we, you know, eventually found out about with the Rolly performance and future fights that came after that. And he beat that guy with one arm. But, you know, what I can say is that of these fights did go to a decision. There's an argument for him losing the fight, you know, and that's just the objective truth, you know, not adding up the other stuff. So I'm just being purely objective, not including the other stuff that maybe came with the fight. And yeah, I think Davis Cruz is a very close fight. Very gritty fight. I thought, for just, you know, putting my feelings into it, I thought, you know, Davis, for the circumstances involved, did do a really good job. But, you know, we're just being objective here. We're just talking about the performance in general. And a lot of people thought, you know, that performance gave Cruz a platform to, you know, I think even the post-fight press conference, they said a star has been born, you know. So that performance really gave him a foot to stand on in the division. And now he's doing great things at 140, and I think he can come right back down to 135 and give Davis problems again, you know. But who knows? I mean, that fight probably is a little different, though, if Davis has 2 arms. So, yeah, but very close fight initially, and I think that's C tier for sure. The next fight I have is Gamboa. Excuse me, my bad. Davis, Gamboa, I think I put that, yeah, probably B tier, because I feel like Gamboa at the time, not the worst version of Gamboa, but that's not a good Gamboa for sure. I don't know how old he was at the time of the fight, but he'd already been knocked out, I think, by Crawford. Let me see. I can check. So it was 2019, and Gamboa is, do we have an age here? No, we don't got an age, but I mean, I'm guessing he was like 38. I'm gonna guess. We can look up Gamboa. Current age. Gamboa is currently 42, and that was 5 years ago. So, yeah, he was like 38, 30, yeah, 38, 30, 37. Yeah, 38, 37. My bad. I'm tripping. Oh, yeah, 38, 37 at the time. So, yeah, I was right. Okay, so he was about 38 at the time on a torn Achilles too. I think he suffered inside the fight. So, I think Davis, I put it B tier because any Davis that we saw in any of these other fights comes out and knocks this guy out, maybe even and credit to Gamboa, he's a very good fighter. I thought the ref gave Gamboa a lot of chances and he eventually got the job done in the 12th round, but that's someone he probably should have got out in. Wait, he made it a lot harder on himself. So just objectively from a performance standpoint, I feel like you just got to get him out of there, But at the same time, too, I can't really put it at C tier or lower because, and I'm honestly tempted to even put it higher because at the end of the day, Davis Gamboa, I mean, he knocked him down 3 times. He dominated him throughout the course of the fight, and then he eventually got the KO. Anyone else does that, it's seen in a higher light. But it's Davis. All these fights are great fights. All these guys consist of someone getting a knockout. Not someone. Davis getting the knockout. Dominating the fight predominantly. So yeah, I gotta just objectively, just to compare to the other fights, I gotta put it at B tier. The next one I got here is, and A tier in no particular order, because that's what I like about tiers, so I don't gotta necessarily rank them. But I'm gonna go with Hector Luis Garcia against Gervonta Davis. Hector Luis Garcia, 130-pound champion, coming up a weight class. I thought he had some good early rounds, some decent early rounds, but we know Tank's a decently slow starter. It takes some time for him to get into his groove. But once he starts to settle in, it felt like Davis was just ahead of him and just better. I think he just outclassed him. There was that moment where he hit him with like a chopping right hand, and then like the camera kind of shook, and it felt like as a viewer you were there. Like the camera kind of shook, and it shook with Hector Luis Garcia getting rocked. It was like a weird moment. It was like a movie moment. And that's when I feel like the tide shifted. He can only take so many punches. And I think he quit on the stool. So good performance by Tank. Not the bet. I mean, not flawless because he did get hit with some punches. And obviously we see Hector Luis Garcia. I know I'm not including the opponent, but Hector Luis Garcia in the next fight lost to Lamont Roach. So I think he lost to Lamont Roach. So yeah, didn't age the best, but still a decent opponent. Guy moving up a weight class. So can't hate on it. And it was a fight tuning up for the Ryan Garcia fight coming soon. And we obviously saw the performance that happened there. And then Barrios, next one I got there. Gervonta Davis versus Mario Barrios. This is a performance I have a lot of respect for, honestly, because obviously we've seen what Barrios has done and gone out to do after the fight. But even in the fight, it was a really good fight. I thought Barrios had some really good rounds early. I thought he, put a good jab. He used his length well, for a fighter with those capabilities. He didn't fight like Fundora, who was trying to like be an inside fighter with all that reach. He fought Davis the way I think a lot of people should, jab from the outside, but he also got it, got some really good shots in on Davis, I feel like, early. But then everything just kind of fell apart when he started getting knocked down. But that was a fight where I was like, I think the narrative kind of started with this fight where it was like he kind of got bailed out with his power. Does Davis really have skill? Like, what if we take power out of the equation? Does he beat Barrios? Which is a kind of stupid argument because, like, power is a part of the game. But I think conversations like that kind of start with this fight right here with Barrios. But dare I say he got bailed out by his power? Nah, I mean, he landed some really good shots off Barrios. And that spelled the end of it. I think he got a knockdown round 8. And then just continued to box really well. I think it was the time when Floyd told him, unofficial scorecards, you're down. And then he just kind of pushed the pace and showed that he was the better fighter. But Barrios came back really well with another round too. So, shoot, now I'm thinking of the fight like it was a competitive fight. But Davis ended up getting that knockout, showed his grittiness, showed his versatility, showed that dog. I think that we also saw in the Leo Santa Cruz fight because Barrios came back with another round, but then Davis was able to finish it off with the overhand right, I think, and then finishing the fight. So. And against a really quality opponent, against a tall opponent, a guy that really should be fighting at 140. So it was a power for power win, you could say. It's a pound for pound win, going up to 140. So yeah, pretty good performance by Davis, if I could say so. Okay, next one we got Gervonta Tank Davis going up against Leo Santa Cruz. I was debating putting the S tier, but I just can't because I want to save the S tier ones for the flawless performances where I feel like there was little to no resistance. I know it's an exaggeration when I get up there, but I'm going to explain myself. But Davis Santa Cruz, all out war. You know what I mean? From the get-go, Davis was throwing punches. Santa Cruz was throwing punches. Santa Cruz living up to his name. I feel like he was kind of getting bullied in the early half of that fight, though, by Davis getting pushed back where you thought maybe Cruz would be maybe the one go. Or I don't know. Maybe I'm remembering the fight wrong, but Nonetheless, they were both landing a lot of shots on each other. They were both landing a lot of shots. Cruz coming forward sometimes. Davis, they would switch the role of, who's the leader and who's the caboose. Or who's the leader, who's the caboose, who's leading the dance. Santa Cruz, coming forward, landing a bunch of shots. Davis, man, but I think towards the latter half of that fight, he was a sucker for that uppercut. He really wanted that uppercut. He was sending it up, and then he eventually got it, but some frustrating moments in that fight we saw with, Davis throwing Cruz on the ground. There was that weird knockdown that I don't think it was a knockdown, but it was a weird moment, because Cruz came forward and then Davis kind of fell weird. I don't know if a punch was landed there, but just some frustrating moments, you saw Davis' maturity. He was able to bite down. He was able to, I don't know if he necessarily fought his fight, because it seemed like if the fight was going to carry on that way, Cruz, that's the fight that he likes, though. He likes, going forward and getting in the pocket and throwing punches. But at the end of the day, too, though, you don't want to be throwing those punches with a guy like Davis, in the pocket, throwing those heavy punches, just going to war with a guy like that who has clearly more pop than you do. So maybe not the best strategy for Santa Cruz, but that was his path to victory. That was the way he was going to win that fight. So, yeah, not a bad performance by Santa Cruz. But, really good performance by Davis. One of the most viral knockouts that we've seen to date in boxing. I mean, he really, honestly, after that knockout, it looked like he was dead, to be honest. He was lying on the floor, so that was bad. But not quite S tier. My S tier performances I got for Davis is we got Ryan Garcia, of course. I felt like in this fight he just showed levels. This is a fight that I think a lot of people were picking Garcia to go out there including me. That's why I give him a lot of credit for the fight. I thought Garcia was gonna go out there and use his length, use his speed, use those capabilities, and Davis never seemed to. Garcia had his moments for sure, but it's like a lot of these other fights too. I think Davis is such a force and such a favorite, such a big name in boxing. So when someone else challenges him, their accomplishments and the stuff that they do in the fight gets overvalued. So I think some of the stuff that, Garcia did, ultimately, I think there were times where he might have won a round or two, but nothing crazy, nothing that stuck really. And then Davis coming in with what was that? It was like an intercepting left hook. Yeah, he was coming in and he just sat him down. And then there was obviously the body shot KO that we saw. It was just, I felt from top to bottom, it was just a flawless performance from Davis. He showed that he fought, I think, Garcia at the time, one of the four kings for sure at 135. It goes Tank, Ryan, Haney, and Shakur, I would say, right? Maybe T.O. I don't know where T.O. fits in that because he was at 140, but one of the four kings, and he beat that guy, and he beat him very convincingly, so that was a very good win. And then, last but not least, we have Davis Romero. This is one of those things where it's just maybe not the best, of these guys, Romero's probably the worst opponent out of it, but he showed in the fight its levels, because I think Romero had people thinking that he was a lot better than he was. The way he was talking insane, he sold that fight by himself for sure. Well, obviously Tank did his trash talk, but Romero sold that fight, and he made you believe that he had a chance, and he never really had a chance for sure. The skill gap was vast. And Romero, he was banking on just landing one lucky shot, and it never came. Davis just ran through him. It was a very uncompetitive fight, I felt like. And yeah, that's why it's an S tier performance. I feel like it was flawless. Davis took care of him, and it was a nasty knockout. Just sent him through the ropes. So that's my tier list. I didn't want to keep y'all here for an hour. Just keep it short and sweet. 7 fights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Yeah, 7 fights. So, last 7 fights of Davis' career. Let me know in the comments where y'all think the Davis Martin fight will land. If I had to predict, I think it's going to be S tier. I think it's going to be, good opponent, good knockout, and just, not too much resistance. I think he'll have Davis. I think he'll have Martin figured out by like the fourth, fifth, and then just cruise control from there. So that's what I think. Leave a like on the video, subscribe. Peace out, Oscar. You know what it is.